Okay, so we are just waiting for this bill to start and we'll see what happens. This is my reaction to Attorney General Niki Sharma doing her second reading, which is at speed, of Bill 24 in the BC Legislature. I am concerned. You can watch one of our past videos. There'll be a link down there with Douglas Elliott, who is an attorney and a very renowned attorney here in Canada, and explaining why this bill is so bad. However, it's also based on a lot of misinformation and based on fear and conjecture. Ooh, what a fancy word. So here we go. We're going to get started. Let's see what happens. Ugh. I hate when I listen to these people talk. It just frustrates me. So again, we have a website called Fact Check Niki Sharma. It should be out very shortly. You can send a letter to her.
We are now moving the second reading of Bill number 24, Vaping Products, Damages and Health Care Cost Recovery Act. Attorney General.
Thank you. I move that the bill now be read a second time. The Vaping Product Damages and Healthcare Cost Recovery Act provides a litigation-based mechanism for government to recover healthcare costs and public health-related expenditures related to vaping from wrongdoers.
Okay, so here's the thing. Two things that don't make sense. She was actually made a statement saying that this money is not going to be going to health. It will be going into the general coffers. And then the other thing is wrongdoers. Most likely, the wrongdoers don't have a license to sell products. They don't have a business. They're doing it on the side. So unless Niki Sharma all of a sudden is able to, track down and sue illegal entities that are out there selling illicit product, she's really not going to be able to sue. Who's she going to sue? She's going to sue the people that she thinks, because this woman is actually not talking to anybody, and you'll hear more about that through this.
Specifically, manufacturers, wholesalers, and related consultants. This new act follows the model of the Tobacco Damages and Healthcare Cost Recovery Act and the Opioid Damages and Healthcare Costs Recovery Act by creating a statutory tort and providing government with a direct action to recover the costs of healthcare benefits from wrongdoers who've committed vaping-related wrongs.
Okay, vaping-related wrongs. That is so broad. This entire bill is so broad. Listen, this woman is not stupid. Let's be very clear. I'm not saying she's stupid. I'm saying she's smart. I am saying she has been well lobbied, or lobbied well, whatever you want to call it. And these are the speaking notes of only one side. So for her to say at any point, and she hasn't, in all fairness, she has not said she's spoken to all stakeholders at any point. She hasn't actually told us how she came up with this idea, which would be very interesting, because she is literally copying something from smoking. So obviously the Attorney General has not fully been briefed, or she's used her systemic beliefs when it comes to people who smoke and doesn't understand the difference. So maybe the Attorney General needs to end the Deputy Premier. She has two roles. This woman is smart. She has done a lot. And I mean, I'd hate for her fall to be stigmatization of people who smoke.
The two existing acts have been vigorously tested in the courts and government.
Yes, they've been tested because there's harm. They have not been tested because they have reduced risk. So, I mean, come on, Niki. Come on, AG.
Either successfully defended them or refined them to ensure their validity and success. This new bill, focused on vaping, will build on the success of those existing acts to ensure wrongdoers can be held to account.
Who are these wrongdoers? Just because, according to her, I'm a wrongdoer, because for the last 10 years I've been talking about how great vaping is, especially for people who used to smoke.
The financial burden of many wrongdoers has too often been paid for by taxpayers.
What illness. What illness? Like, that to me is one, you know what? You're lying. Paid too often. So that means it's multiple times, but she's not sharing multiple times.
But this bill will allow the government to hold wrongdoers accountable and ensure that any financial burden is placed where it belongs. This proposed legislation should also encourage those who prioritize profit over the health and well-being of people living in British Columbia to
Okay, the only person prioritizing profits is someone that's looking how to make money for the general coffers. Because let's be very clear, the money that she's even said it is not going to health. They are trying, it's a cash grab. It is a cash grab. It is ambulance chasing.
change their behavior. In particular, it will create accountability for manufacturers and wholesalers of vaping products who've been deceptively targeting youth.
Okay, so let's go back to this. So what we're having here is the Attorney General of BC, not Canada. I don't even think we have a Justice Minister, is literally has not even read the Tobacco Vaping Products Act and does not understand accountability of manufacturers and resellers. Again, let's talk about, I don't care about the rest of Canada, but hey, let me stand up for the rest of Canada. She has not read TVPA, or she thinks she knows better than Health Canada. It's either or.
Like the Tobacco and Opioid Acts, which focused on specific wrongdoings related to tobacco and opioid products, respectively, this proposed legislation is focused on vaping and related products and any wrongdoing that causes or contributes to disease, injury, or illness, or the risk of disease, injury, or illness.
Or the risk of disease and disease or illness. The risk. Most people who pick up a vaping product used to smoke. How are you going to tell the difference between any disease that they get between vaping and smoking? You're not going to. You are not going to, Ms. Sharma, unless you start making up and certifying your own facts. Oh, wait, that's going to happen later on. Also, someone brought this up, COVID injuries. How are you going to tell the difference? But again, we're in a silo. We're just doing what we want to do. We need money.
A vaping-related wrong is defined as a breach of a duty or obligation owed to people living in British Columbia, or a tort.
Okay, a vaping doing wrong. Would not sharing truthful information not be considered a vaping doing wrong? Like, could you not sue the Canadian Cancer Society, which you've given over $12 million to, for lying about vaping? Could you not sue Smoke-Free Physicians, Coalition de Tobacco? Will this give us the opportunity to sue the NGOs? Because they are doing wrongs by sharing misinformation and not sharing the truth and encouraging people. And also this woman is putting out lies, and every single MLA who spoke after her is doing lies. Sorry, let me continue.
This definition helps ensure that wrongdoers, regardless of whether they are individuals, corporations, or other entities, can be held fully accountable for their conduct. With this legislation, government will be able to make claims in cases where there is a risk of disease, injury, or illness.
A risk. There are no, okay, let me just continue.
Related to vaping, and not just in cases where harm has fully materialized. This approach is important because government can incur significant costs when addressing these risks before they turn into disease, injury, or illness. Government will be able to...
I don't think Niki Sharma spoke with finance and realized that there's a 20% vape tax in BC, which is supposed to cover this whole thing. So where is your enforcement? Where are your programs? What are you doing with that 20% tax? Because let's be very clear, we, as people who vape in this country, have raised so much money for this government, and they are mismanaging it. We pay taxes on top of taxes, on top of taxes, on top of taxes, especially in BC. So AG Sharma, maybe you need to actually tell us what you did with the money in the first place instead of trying to figure out how you're going to get more.
Claim for those costs that have already been incurred and for those costs that are reasonably expected to be incurred in the future.
So reasonably expected. Obviously, we're in La La Land and we're playing in this make-believe land. So the word reasonable isn't reasonable. Okay.
It is for this reason that the recoverable costs are defined to capture all of the government's expenditures incurred when responding to a disease, injury, or illness caused by a wrongdoer. These costs can include healthcare costs like doctor's appointments and hospital treatments, but can also include the cost of proactive and preventative measures that are used to address the risk of disease, injury, or illness.
What are you doing with the tax dollars that you are charging people who vape and use safer nicotine products in your province? What are you doing with that money? Because that is why you said you were going to have that money. Do you not talk to previous governments? Or wait a second, do you not read what regulations you have? Do you not speak to finance to ask them, what are we doing with these tax dollars? Or did you say, can we get more money, do you think, from these people?
This can include things like educational campaigns, medical monitoring, and cessation programs. Because kids and young people are often the most vulnerable, it is important that the costs incurred by schools responding to wrongdoings caused by deceptive marketing. That costs incurred by schools responding to wrongdoings caused by deceptive marketing related to vaping are also included.
Okay, again, people who sell products to minors are shady. Most likely they're selling them on the school grounds, etc. So how are you going to sue a human being? Like, you're not going to get any money. Do you not realize you're not going to be selling manufacturers? You have no control, Ms. Sharma.
This includes preventative strategies and programs.
Again,
the Vaping Product Damages and Healthcare Costs Recovery Act contains many procedural features from the Tobacco and Opioid Acts that allow government to prove claims for costs of healthcare benefits accurately and enable litigation to proceed efficiently while preserving fairness. Claims can be bought on an aggregate basis to recover government costs at a population.
Did you guys hear that? She said claims can be bought, not brought, bought. Slip? I don't know.
Level, and not just in relation to specific claims or specific individuals. Under this new act, statistical and research-based information can also be used as evidence to prove liability, causation, and the amount owed by the wrongdoer. It also provides for important presumptions of causation of disease, injury, or illness related to vaping, which will facilitate findings of liability in complex situations where the defendant has committed a wrong that creates a risk of disease, injury, or illness. This shifts the burden to defendants to prove that they did not cause disease, injury, or illness to people in British Columbia. This new bill further provides for a multi-crown class action that was innovated by British Columbia and the opioid legislation.
Again, money, money, money. Hey guys, don't worry, we will sue on our behalf. But let me be clear, I don't think anybody's going to, if I was a lawyer, I wouldn't want to take these people on as clients. It's a lot of money that you're not going to get up front. They're probably going to think that they're going to get millions. But let me be clear, like, it's a lost case. How can you prove something that doesn't exist? Oh wait, you create a regulation where you don't have to prove that much.
Government of British Columbia can lead a lawsuit on behalf of other provincial and territorial governments in Canada.
Look, the NDP
BC has long been the national leader in the tobacco and opioid litigation and intends to continue to lead the way in protecting the health of those living in British Columbia.
Please note, if you live in British Columbia, Attorney General and Deputy Premier Niki Sharma does not believe in harm reduction. That's it. Harm reduction is harm reduction. You want to debate me on it? Do it in the comments.
With this new act focused on vaping. Thank you.
So, there you have it. It is a cash grab, and prove me wrong. See you later.